Ben Wise here, and I want to introduce the newest cycle coming up in the protocol. Now, the 2023 season is right around the corner, right? We're now in December, which means that, man, it's really time to start gearing up and really start thinking about that 2023 season if you're actually taking it seriously. So Open is right around the corner coming up in like the middle of February. Quarterfinals are in the middle of March. And for our age groupers, it's a little later than that. Either way, the season is quickly approaching and we need to make sure that we are prepared for that adequately. There's a couple ways that we're gonna do this, but overall, big picture, we're just calling this cycle preseason training, right? Because that's essentially what it is. It's before the season actually kicks off. We're not quite into full-blown competitive prep just yet, but we need to really start establishing a pretty strong base in order to do that. And just as it sounds, there's gonna be certain things that are gonna be necessary in order to establish that base. Some of those things are just as simple as like doing some more focused skill work, right? I would call this like skill refinement. So we're gonna take blocks of time, specifically dedicated towards not just acquiring new skills, but just as it sounds, refining those skills. So oftentimes people spend a lot of time and energy like focusing on like kind of pouring fire, so to speak, on their skills, right? Where it's like putting more volume or more intensity or being able to do them with more fatigue. And those things are all like well and good and necessary for CrossFit especially. However, I think it's also really important that we kind of take a step back sometimes and really focus on the highest quality of work, your positions while you're actually executing that, your footwork, your body lines, all like the little nuances of movement. So we're gonna take some time to dedicate just to doing those things. It's gonna be rotating movements. It's not gonna be the same thing all the time. We're gonna take different periods of time to make sure that we're focusing on a variety of skills. In kind of stark contrast to that, we're gonna start actually building a base of interfering contractions. So basically you can think of this as doing things that kind of resemble CrossFit that are, again, very interfering, non-complementary movement patterns. So for example, it could be handstand push-ups and handstand walking. It could be deadlifts and GHD sit-ups, right? Things that are just enough where you can still execute them at a pretty high intensity. However, the challenging aspect of that thing is the muscular endurance components because it's hitting the same patterns again and again and again. You hear that referred to oftentimes as redundancy. So it's one of the qualities that we're going to be building up in training across this cycle. We're also going to be making sure that we spend some time on couplets and triplets as we always do, but especially now because that's one of the most popular things that you're going to see in CrossFit. And we're going to make sure we're getting a pretty good spread between monostructural weightlifting and gymnastics in those movements. So we're getting a variety of things within that, but we're going to make sure we're hitting those MGW couplets or probably oftentimes triplets in those types of environments. And then over time, that's going to start to extend more in towards the durations that we're actually going to mimic in the sport. So for now, we're going to get creative in how we layer those and how we break up work rest periods so that you can really accumulate some quality work without that degrading, without you having to redline and sort of go there every single day. So we're going to make sure we balance that out. And then obviously we're going to keep touches on the strength work. The strength work is going to be super important. However, now it's not just about doing unfatigued weightlifting or even frankly like battery efforts, right? We need to make sure that we're having a pretty good understanding of where our strength levels are and all the patterns, but then also in sort of unique complexes. So that's going to be one of the things we focus on too, is figuring out what is my capacity on a 4RM touch and go squat snatch? What is my capacity on a deadlift plus a hang clean plus a clean plus a jerk complex, right? Those sorts of things that you would never get exposure to just in sort of like regular old strength training, so to speak. That's going to be very important as you get deeper into your competitive season. So if this all sounds like something you're interested in, you can head over to zorfitness.com/pro. You can get a 7-day free trial and try out the protocol for free. And we'll be seeing all you guys there.